Carmelo Anthony.
Absolutely guilty.
Okay. Now, O.J. Simpson.
Oh, absolutely guilty.
Okay. George Zimmerman.
No, self-defense. He was acquitted by a jury of his peers.
Now, if we're going based on facts, what makes the Carmelo Anthony and the George Zimmerman case different?
George Zimmerman was hunted at night by Trayvon Martin at 2 a.m., and the stand your ground law allows you to stand your ground up against people that wish you harm. Carmelo Anthony, with that Austin Metcalf, who he murdered in cold blood, said, "Don't touch me" at a high school track meet, said one thing he didn't like, took out a knife, and then brutally stabbed him to death. Those are not moral equivalents. George Zimmerman and Austin Metcalf and Carmelo Anthony are on different planets morally. Don't ever compare them. That is incredible moral confusion.
When you think about what he's actually saying here, it's powerful on so many different levels, and it was very creative to stitch in Charlie Kirk and use it in this way to talk about a current event. Carmelo Anthony, a guy who just got convicted of murder, is going to be in prison for a long time. And when you think about it, everyone's going to have their opinion on Charlie Kirk. Oh, he was a racist. He wasn't a racist. Oh, no, he's dead. Oh, like, don't speak about someone when they're dead, etc. This isn't the point, right? Even when you think about the case. And one of the things which stood out to me in that clip was when he said, okay, cool. Based on the facts, what's the difference between the George Zimmerman case and Carmelo Anthony? You know, the key word there, facts. You see, you can have an opinion on Charlie Kirk. You can have an opinion on this murder case or that murder case. But what we can't just focus on, which is what some people focus on for some reason, is we can't just say, well, the fact is he was white and he was black and he was found not guilty and he was guilty, and just flatten it out as if that's the only scenario, right? I'm not saying that racism doesn't exist, but my point is you can't just look at a scenario or hear a scenario and say, well, I'm hearing that it's because he was a black guy, that's why he was convicted, and a white guy didn't get convicted. No, guys, we have to be better than that. We have to use our minds, as the Bible talks about, right? It's a fool talks about something before they've even heard it, right? So I don't really know much about the Carmelo Anthony case other than just that little bits which have been seen. Hence why I'm not going to make some outlandish statement and say, oh yeah, X, Y, Z, blah, 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 etc. Some of the footage has come out up until this point and it looks very bad, right? It looks like, okay, cool. Someone said something to him which he didn't like and he decided to retaliate by murdering him, okay? If it is as simple as that, then that is clearly different to a scenario where someone is pursuing you and trying to take you out, right? We can all be reasonable and just look at facts and say, okay, this is the truth. It's not about, okay, cool, just because someone's a fellow colored person, if you want to put it like that, another black person, that means you have to side with them. No, right? Because especially when you think about this from a kingdom perspective, as kingdom citizens, we don't just look at people based on the color, right? We look more so, what's more important beyond color is the character, what actions they're actually taking. So when it comes to this, will steer you so far in life, guys. When you think about life, not just based on, oh, he's the same skin tone as me, or he's from the same country as me, or he supports the same soccer team or NBA team or country as me in the World Cup. Like, no, this is a very ground level way to think about stuff. And we need to think about things from a high level perspective, from a godly perspective. When we think about things in that case, one can be guilty and one could be not guilty. And we shouldn't base why one's guilty and one's not guilty based on the color of their skin, right? And again, I'm going to say this again, because I know there's so many people out there who only judge things by color. They're so focused on highlighting racism, they don't realize that they're racist themselves. I'm going to say that again. There's some people out there, many people in fact, they're so focused on highlighting racism, they don't even realize they're racist themselves. So you don't kill or destroy, you don't wipe out racism with more racism. You wipe out racism with love. You wipe out racism by showcasing that somebody's silly, erroneous ideas of someone with a skin tone, just because they have a skin tone, are incorrect. So you hear about, for example, popular statement, I'll give you one like black time, right? What does that typically suggest? Black time means you're going to show up late. And I hate that sort of stuff, right? Even in my household, like I always say, like, no, like forget, like black time isn't a thing. Don't make that a thing here. We are wealthy people. We are wise people. So we act wealthy. We act wise. This is the sort of framework. We're righteous people. We act righteously. This is the sort of framework I put over my household. So what do wealthy people do? They show up on time or early. What do wise people do? They show up on time or they show up early. This isn't about the color of your skin. This is about your identity, who you are, right? So as a kingdom citizen, when I think about different stuff, I don't just, before I look at my skin tone, I look at who I actually am, my identity. My identity comes from Christ. I'm a kingdom citizen. So that means I'm on assignment. I'm representing somebody. Who am I representing? I'm representing the God of the universe. So when it comes to the God of the universe, how does he go about his business? He does things decently. He does things in order. He does things in a way which bless other people. He does all of these things in a great way. He showcases his miraculous power in various different ways. So what do? I say, you know what? I want to mimic my creator as much as possible. And that's what you do, right? Don't just get your identity from your skin tone, right? That's part of your identity, but that isn't the biggest part of your identity. Even if people out there in the world want to make you think that actually is. Don't let foolish people, don't let bigots and those sorts of people direct the way you live your lifestyle. Live your lifestyle the way you believe and know you're supposed to live your lifestyle, and let the chips fall where they may, as they say. Let people do what they're going to do because they're going to do what they're going to do. But when you think about this case, it's easy and can be fine for you to say, Karmelo Anthony, a black young man, did something wrong. It should be okay for you to say that as a colored person and to be able to say, okay, cool. Based on the facts of the case, he was doing something illegal and he should be punished for it. And in the same way, if someone from a different skin tone, a different shade of brown, right? All shades of brown anyway in the bigger scheme of things. If they do something which is evil, then they should be convicted in the same way. But if someone from a different skin tone, from a different place, from a different scenario, doesn't do something which is illegal, and the facts of the case are different, it's okay to say that they should not be found guilty. They should be found not guilty of the crime that they're being accused of. Guys, this is so simple, but for so many people, this is so difficult. And I get it, and I understand people are dealing with past trauma. That is a real thing. I'm not denying that, right? We all have some sort of baggage from our past that holds us back in one way, shape, or form. But you know the powerful thing about what God does for us? He makes us a new creation. And the reason why I'm saying that is because we're not supposed to hold on to our previous baggage. We are supposed to come onto Jesus, the one who carries our burdens and makes our yoke easy, because he carries it for us. So we take the things that have plagued us and troubled us in the past, we put it on Christ, and we go about our life living in a way which represents the King to the best of our abilities. So, rant over, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and as always, react righteously. God bless.